What we have here is the classic Edelbrock Victor Jr. They made them for a long fucking time. About 44 years. They first hit the scene about 1979. Before they made the Victor Jr., they made a Scorpion, and they made it till 78 or so. But about the last run of the last Scorpions had Victor Jr. on them, like that. Except it was a Scorpion intake with Victor Jr. on it. I believe they only made them the later half of 78. It was like some kind of fucking transitional intake into what we know as the Victor Jr. These type. The first like this, 79. This unit here, this is a 79. You can tell the old motherfuckers. Look at the opening here, the air gap. And look at it. They took a big fucking cut out of it, contoured it to the shape of the front of the block. But the first ones, it was just straight across like a big fucking catfish mouth or something. And then they rounded off the corners. And here's your next run. This would be your early 80s, mid 80s. They look the same, except the front was notched out here, still rounded off on the corners. And the runners had these lines you could see on the early ones, and the Edelbrock Victor Jr. logo was bigger. Then it shrunk. Actually, this one, this is a Victor Jr. tall. It's got deeper plenum, taller than your regular Victor Jr., your 2975s. This is a 2999. It's tall. This is your Victor Jr.'s, like in the 90s. This would be your early to mid 80s. And in the late 80s, they made them like this. Notice the runners don't have that line anymore. It's smooth. And you look at the way that lip is there. That one's more flush. This is a mid-90s, mid to late 90s Victor Jr. This unit here. This would be your early 90s Victor Jr. But it's, like I said, it's the tall. But it's different from this one. You look at it's got the rounded off corners like the old ones. And then your more modern versions squared off. instead of contoured like that. This is the type they still make today. They still sell these fucking things after 44 years. They still sell these talls, I believe, also. Myself, I prefer the early Victor Jrs. These type with the lines on the runners. They're plenty big. I mean, this motherfucker here, it's port matched to a 1206. So, you can hog them out pretty good. It's a good intake. It's early to mid 80s unit there. It was on a circle track engine. But there's your first Victor Jr. It's the one that started it all, pretty much. People still love these fuckers to this day. They probably sold 10 million of these motherfuckers over the years. Shit, I probably had 20 of them myself. But they're still a good intake, and in the right application, they work real good. Like they kind of cheaped out on these fuckers. I don't know why they made them less defined and shit. Took away some of the detail. Look inside. Casting and shit. Got that big fucking line there. And you look at the old shit. These, they went to the single holly pattern. The old ones had the dual pattern. Somewhere about the late 80s or so, they started making them all single pattern for holly only. This fucker here was more or less to overcome a no spacer rule. It's cast into the intake. It's more or less a 2-inch spacer cast in. They work pretty good. It's got the smooth runners also. It's just flush going off the end there compared to these old ones. They're more defined, have more detail to them. But if you see a Victor Jr. and it's got that full fish mouth across the front there versus the notched contoured type, you know you got an early one with this, which this fucker here is old as time too, but it's little changes they made over the years pretty well give you an idea. They don't have a date on them, but the little clues and shit is pretty much how you can tell. If there's any flow difference between the old ones and the newer ones, I'd be curious to find out. Just looking at them though, they pretty much, actually the older ones look a little cleaner, a little better as far as the inside of that plenum and shit goes and the runner dividers. So probably I'd put my money on one of these older ones. Hell, the ones they're making now are probably using the same mold that this unit here came out of. That's what your current day Victor Jr. looks like. And you got your Victor Tall. That one's had port matching done to it too. They come about a 1205 size, but you can take them out 1206 pretty easy. They're usually a pretty good fit and intake on most shit. Quality piece. There you go. There's your evolution of the Edelbrock Victor Jrs. From the 70s to the present, or 79 to the present. Still a good piece.